The first time I came to China was in 2010 when we came to adopt my youngest daughter. We flew into Beijing, spent one night there, and then flew to Nanchang where we got my daughter. We spent a week in Nanchang, and then we came back to Beijing and just spent a week there. So 2 weeks, very short visit the first time. When I got the job here was the next time that we came to visit, and it's been a 6-year visit this time. Yes.
那就是在加拿大待了6年是吧？是6年以后是吧？
Did you mean that you come back from Canada 6 years later?
No, when I came back from Canada, it was only 2 years later, but we stayed for 6 years. Stayed for longer.
那为什么比如说当时他这个产生领养一个孩子中国孩子的这种想法呢？
So why did you come up with the idea that you will adopt children?
We struggled to have children, and so we knew we wanted to have at least 1 or 2 children. And when we struggled so much that we decided to adopt. And we had friends who adopted from China, and they adopted 2 lovely girls, and they had a good experience. So we decided to follow in their journey. Yes.
那还记得你第一次见到这个孩子当时那种感觉吗？
Did you remember the first time you met the girl?
Yeah, of course. It was very special for us. Her nanny from the orphanage put her into my arms, and I held her, and she was she was afraid because I was stranger to her, but in my heart I loved her for as long as after we had made the decision to adopt, I had, thought about her. So it was a different experience for both of us, but it did not take long for her to have a very strong bond with me. She was very happy soon after we met. Yes.
尽管我是个父亲，但是我孩子5岁了，I have a son, 5 years
Yes.
old. 但是呢，我能够感觉到一个母亲看到一个
I can feel as a mother.
一个孩子是那种感觉，那其实上是应该是很揪心的一个感觉吧。
You might feel very, how to say that, it's very a little sad or pity to see that sign.
Yes. It for me it was sad that she was scared because already I had mother instincts towards her. But I knew that with my love and attention that she would not feel that way for long. And it was true. She felt, I think she felt part of our family that day, that same day. Yes.
我在想，如果领养一个孩子，为什么不在加拿大你最熟悉的环境里生活，而是来到中国来生活呢？
So why do you choose to live in China?
The biggest reason that we came to China was so my daughter and our whole family could experience the culture of China. I really wanted to be able to share that with her. And while she is Canadian, she will live in Canada for as long as she chooses. I don't want her to lose her Chinese heritage. And we couldn't give that to her in Canada. So we decided to make the move and to come to China at first for a year. And then we love it so much we can't seem to go home. Yes.
那我想，一个孩子他3岁的时候，应该是3岁领养的吧？
When you adopted her, how old is she?
She was 10.5 months when I first met her. Yes, very young, little baby. Yes.
She is 6 years old this year.
She's 9.
9.
9, yes, she's 9.
9.
Yes. She looks 6, but she's 9. Very tiny.
哦，那他知道自己是领养的吗？他对这个他有什么看法？
Yeah, she knew that she was adopted.
Yes, we were honest with her from the very beginning. So she uses the word adopted, and we've tried to tell her. We don't know anything about her Chinese parents, but we try to talk about them, just so she's able to use the language that she has. I'm her mother, but she also has a Chinese mother, so we've always been very honest with her, and she handles it very well.
那我想您要带着两个。
Could I go grab a cushion? I'm just gonna go.
No problem.
Yeah. Is there something? Oh yeah. Just my butt. Sorry. Very. You must miss him when you're here doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. Be hard.
我有1个多月没见。
More than 1 month, haven't seen him.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah.
Let's continue.
Okay.
好啊。那我想你一个可能带1个孩子可能会好一点，那么带2个孩子是不是很累啊？会不会改变你以前的生
Maybe
活？
it's better to work when only 1 child. If there are 2, is that a change of life before?
My hope was to always have 2. I have a sister. My husband has a brother, and we have such a nice relationship. When we were young, even though there's a 5 years difference between my sister and I, we still spend time together and play with each other. And even now, we care deeply about each other. And when my parents pass on, we will be together. I want that for my children. I want that for my girls, that when my husband and I are gone, that they can look after each other and have families together. Yes.
听起来很感人的。
It's so moving, touching.
他们是一般他们怎么玩？喜欢玩什么呢？他们互相。
How do they like to play with each other?
With my sister?
No.
Oh, my children, yes. Sorry. They play games together. They sometimes they pretend they are police and criminals. They like to play that game, like cops and robbers. They like to play dolls together. They love to run around together. They like to play cards. They're always together. They still fight. Every once in a while they will argue, and that's normal. But they if you ask them, they would not say this, but they are each other's best friend. Yeah. They also go to school together, so they spend almost all their time together. They're very close. Very close.
你全家都喜欢运动吗？
All your family like sports, like physical.
They all like what?
Sports.
Sports. Yes. Yes, my husband and I like to bike together, and he does a lot of biking on his own. My parents were always very active. My father played baseball, my mother plays badminton, and they're always walking. We like to do as much sports as we can together as a family. whether it's soccer or frisbee or swimming. We like to swim. We're always very active, and it's good for the health, but it's also good for relationship building. And for the children, I think it's a great opportunity for them to learn to work as a team and to get along even when you're losing. You need to be able to play games and sports to be able to develop that feeling. Yes.
他来到中国啊，就是中国有很多大城市啊，北京、上海、广州啊。那么兰州实际上它属于2线或者3线的城市，比较小的。那为什么他来到中国却选择了兰州呢？
So you come to China, there are a lot of big cities like Beijing and Shanghai. Why you choose the small city like
Yeah.
Lanzhou?
I really like the feel of Lanzhou. I come from a very small city in Canada, and Lanzhou reminds me a lot of that. Even though there are many more people here, it still has the same feeling. I feel safe when I walk down the streets. The people are very friendly. They're always wanting to communicate with me and to find out about the family. And if I ever need something when I'm out, if I'm looking for something, I can't find it, there's always somebody to help. It's a very comfortable place to live. Yeah.
那么，那你能不能告诉我兰州人能不能描述他一个是什么样的人呢？他们的特点是什么样？
Can you describe the local people character in
Yeah.
Lanzhou?
The Lanzhou people are kind and generous, and most are very happy. They're happy to be here, and they're happy to see foreigners, to get to know foreigners, and they're hardworking. Our Chinese staff at our school work so hard. Out in the community, I see people working so hard for the money. So it's just really, really good people, very good people.
我在想，可能快乐是最重要的。
And wondering the happiness is the most important.
Yes, I agree.
中国很多地方的人都不快乐。
Many people in somewhere else is not so happy.
I agree.
那你怎么有没有个例子让你觉得，哎，什么事情让你觉得兰州人比其他地方更快乐呢？
Can you share with us some examples?
I go to the same little store to buy my vegetables. Always go to the same place. And the woman that is there, she knows exactly what I'm going to buy. And if there's something that I normally buy that's not there, she'll tell me, none today. When she puts the vegetables in my bag, I take my backpack off my back to put the vegetables in my bag. She loves to help me. She opens the bag, she'll put it in for me. Just really kind to me and doing more than just her job. So she's, I think when I walk in the store, she's happy to see me, and I'm happy to see her. Part of our routine. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of a example that does not involve a store. If I am taking the bus, we do not have a car here. So if I'm taking the bus and I'm not always certain about when to get off, I will talk to the bus driver, give him the name of the place where I want to get off, and he will always point me in the right direction. On the bus, often I meet people. They want to talk to me to find out my story. Just last weekend, I met a man on the bus. He said he was a painter. Spoke a little English, and I speak a little Chinese, so we were able to communicate. We were getting off the bus at close to the same stop. I got off one before him, and he got off one after me. And I stopped at a store to buy something. And as I was walking, he came to meet me, and he had a painting for me. So he gave me a painting, and he gave me his business card, and he just wanted me to have something that he had painted. That would not happen in Canada. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was very interesting. Yeah.
观眼睛。
We'll have
那个跟外头说一声，看能不能让他们试一下。Good. Let's continue.
Okay.
今天中午啊，他吃的是牛肉面。他喜欢兰州的吃的吗？除了牛肉面，他还会喜欢其他的吃的吗？
So today we eat beef noodles for lunch. Do you like the food in Lanzhou? Or
Yes.
anything special you like?
Yes. Before we came to Lanzhou, people said the famous thing about Lanzhou was the beef noodle. And I understand why it's famous, because it's so delicious. And it's hard to explain to somebody back home what makes it so delicious. It's beef broth, noodles, and spice. What's so special about that? But it's just the combination of the flavors that makes it so delicious, and that you can eat the noodles and then drink the soup, and you are full, but you are not uncomfortable. It is the best thing to eat for lunch and for breakfast. Nice for breakfast as well. Yeah, and Lanzhou also has very good hot pot. It's very nice to go out for hot pot, and it's very fun to have a meal with our colleagues or our friends, and you can sit at a hot pot for hours and hours and just eat and talk and eat and talk. It is very nice. Those two things are very special about Lanzhou.
那你家人、你丈夫还有孩子喜欢吃兰州的吃的？
How about your husband, your family, your
Mhm.
daughters? Do
Yes.
you like the food in Lanzhou?
Yes, we all enjoy the food in Lanzhou. We all enjoy beef noodle. We get it different things in our beef noodle. Some of us like a lot of spice, some don't like any spice, but we all enjoy. We can go together as a family and have beef noodle. Yes, and we also go out for other meals where we get mixed dishes, and we can eat from them together. And we each have a favorite dish that we like to share. But we enjoy eating out. It's very delicious and very inexpensive here in Lanzhou. Yes.
那我看，这两天观察你啊，就除了上课以外呢，有时间还会跟学生交流，为什么呢？
So we have get along with you these days. Notice that you sometimes prepare your classes and you prefer to communicate with your students.
Mhm.
That's why.
Why do I prefer to communicate with my students?
Yes.
It's the Canadian style is to try and make education fun, and to try and involve our students' likes and dislikes as much as we can, because in the end, if they don't like the style of study, they're not going to do well, and we we want them to do well. So we ask them to participate. We want them to ask questions. We want them to enjoy but to work hard. So it's kind of a team when we're working with our students. We are the leader, but we want them to have a voice in what we do in the classroom.
那我看那个在上课的时候，
It's not working? Cold? Close it? Okay.
干嘛呢？太吵了。等一会儿。
So take a break. It's a little noisy.
Yes.
开机。 看有的学生会在课堂上有一些睡觉了，那么在中国会拿铅笔给他
Some
粉笔。
students feel sleepy in the class. In Chinese, the teachers always throw a chalk to them.
Okay.
但是我看你还是很正常的去正常讲课，这是不是说加拿大的习惯跟不一样？
But you wouldn't do that.
Mm.
In that see that the teacher's style is different from China.
Yeah.
Canadian.
Yes, students do fall asleep sometimes. They're growing teenagers and maybe they have a big lunch and they stay up late. So I think it's natural for them to be sleepy sometimes. But we usually just go and touch the student, shake the student, maybe say their name, maybe make a noise, and encourage them to stand up. And maybe they need to put some water on their face. And I think that's what they would do in the Chinese school as well, to try and get them to get up and not fall asleep. I always say to them, I sometimes get sleepy, but I don't fall asleep because I stand up. I'm always moving, so you have to get them to do that sometimes. Yeah.
在你说每次孩子会下课以后会来找你是吗？
So your daughters will come to you after school, right?
Yes, their bus drops them off, and they'll come up here, and if I'm able to go home right away, we'll go home. If maybe I have a club, then sometimes they go to a club, or they will sit and do their homework. Yes, but they are part of this school as well, because they spend a lot of time here when we are working. When they are not at school, they come here. They go to the library. Like I said, they do their homework, or they just kind of play in the halls. So they are very comfortable here, and the students know them, and my colleagues know them. So they're part of the family, the LOCSS family.
那么家人对你来讲意味着什么呢？
What's the family mean to you?
What does family mean to me? Okay, that's a big question. I've always felt close to my mother and father, and I have cousins. Family means everything to me. More than money or the things that I have, as long as I have my family around me, that's what's important. And that's why I think it's been so easy to stay here in Lanzhou, because I have my family with me. Some of my colleagues, they stay for a couple of years and then they get lonely. So they need to go home to see their family. My parents come to see me every year. They've been to Lanzhou 3 times. So I get to see them as well. So it's just, family means being together. And as long as you're with your family, you're always home.
我直觉的觉得啊，我就感觉，你丈夫很伟大，因为你来到中国，他也会跟你来，还是这种情况吗？
So I feel your husband is a great man. Right?
Yes,
He come to China with you.
yes,
Right.
yes,
So that is because of you and your work and your daughter that
yes,
he to come here.
yes. Yes, no, he's a great man and a great father, and he's been very supportive of our journey here. And he spends a lot of time with my girls, and sometimes because of my job, I have to work extra hours, and he's always there to take them home and to look after them very well. I'm very, very lucky. Yes.
那我们说说跑步这件事儿，你从什么时候开始喜欢跑步的？
When do you like to run?
When do I like to run it at any time. It depends on my schedule. When I'm free enough to run, that is when I run. I like to run in the morning because it is cooler. During the week, that's not possible because I'd have to get up too early in the morning. I also like to run after work, but because of my daughters, I like to go home with them. So I end up right now I'm running at lunch a lot. But on the weekends, I get to do a nice long run, and I can go down by the Yellow River and run on the boardwalk and take my time and enjoy. So my best time to run is when I have time to run, which when you're a working mother, it's whenever you can fit it in, whenever you can find time. Yes.
他回答他什么时候开始喜欢？
他回答的什么原因？So since when did you like to run?
I really first started to run at university, my first year university. I went to school and I became a little fat. So I started to do more exercise, and running was part of that. And ever since then, it's a main part of my activity. Doesn't matter what else I'm doing. I might be doing different kinds of sports, but I've always been running. And when I came to China, I didn't know if I was going to be able to run. I didn't know with the traffic and environment if I was going to be able to keep running. So that was why I was very happy to hear about the marathon, and it gave me a reason to get out and to try to run. And I found a lot of nice places in Lanzhou just by running. You get to see many places because you run far. You get to go and see the environment that you're in. And even when I'm on vacation, that's what I do. I run and I get to see beautiful places. It's a fantastic way to see the world that you're in.
你是每年都参加兰州马拉松吗？
I will participate in the Lanzhou International Marathon every year.
Yes, I have every year that I've been here. The first year I ran the full marathon, and ever since then I've been running the half. So this will be my 6th year participating in the marathon. Yes.
可以吗？可以。
还小，就是你和我想的一样，还是小。
那么那以前你是跑全马，那么后面是半马，这是什么原因呢？
So why do you run a half marathon after the first year?
The first year, during the marathon and even during my training, my knees started to bother me a lot. I've been running for more than 20 years. And after about 25 kilometers, my knees started to cause me a lot of pain. So I managed to get through the training, but then during the marathon, at about kilometer 30, I couldn't run anymore. I had such a steep pain in my knee that I had to walk the last part of the marathon, the last probably 8 kilometers I had to walk. So I decided to just do the half marathon. And maybe someday when I have more time to train, I think I just need more time to put in the long runs. I might get to another marathon, but until that time, right now, I'm just too busy with work to put in the amount of time it takes to properly train. So the half marathon is a nice distance. I still have to do training for it. I still do long runs, but not those extra miles that cause my knee pain.
那我在想，有很多我知道有很多选手啊，中国人，他们都喜欢，比如说这次有什么困难，那么他下次一定要克服，然后跑个全马。但是我觉得你跟他们不一样，你是，当然你也希望跑全马了，但是呢，如果身体不允许呢，你没有强迫自己，这是为什么呢？
So I know some of the sporters, athletes that they force themselves to exercise and whole marathon.
Mhm.
But you are different. You care about your own healthy
Mhm.
condition.
Mhm.
That's why.
Yes. Yes. I want to be able to run after the marathon, and if I do something that's going to push and damage my knee, then I won't be able to run after. And I want to continue running till I'm really old. I want to continue to be able to run. Yes.
我想每年都参加了马拉松，当然一个是爱好了，还有没有什么原因让你这么喜欢这个马拉松，兰州马拉松？
So you take this race every year. Of course you like it, but is there any other reasons for you take part in the race?
It still is a challenge. I do like to challenge myself, and when I'm not training for the marathon, I run just for enjoyment. But it's nice to have a reason to push yourself, and that's what the marathon does. It makes me go for longer runs. It makes me try to run faster, and I'm always trying to make a good time. So it's a way to push myself. It's also when you're down just before the marathon starts, you're waiting for the gun to go off, and there's all these people around you. It's very exciting too, and it just feels. I feel like I've accomplished something just being there in that crowd of people, and everybody is so supportive of each other. They just want, they're saying to each other, "Let's go, let's try hard," and all along the way. That's the feeling from the people you're running with, from the people who are on the sides, saying "Jayo, Jayo" all along. And when you're done, there's people there to cheer and to give you water, and it's just a feeling of accomplishment. Yeah.
他参加过其他的马拉松吗？
Did you ever participate in other places marathon?
Yeah, I did a marathon in Canada. Yeah, before I came. It was a smaller marathon. There was only 200 people. It's a small province in New Brunswick called Prince Edward Island. But it was the same feeling. There wasn't the amount of people, but again, it was a support and encouragement from all the people as we were running along the whole route. Yes, yeah, and I have done half marathons in New Brunswick as well. Several of those half marathons. So it's same reason. They're hard when you're doing them, and sometimes you say to yourself, why do I do this to myself? But that feeling doesn't last for long, especially you finish and you feel proud of yourself. Yeah.
那跑步对你来讲意味着什么呢？为什么？
Yes. Our bell.
Yes.
The
不听怎么在这口音？Say something.
Hello.
你说回音是吧？
Is it okay? Is it okay? I'm not a very loud speaker.
没问题啊。什么问题啊？
刚才问你听一下，就让家那个孩子声能不能压紧点？
我听不见，我耳朵变，我耳穿孔。
那让宝宝这个便携把了，
打我。
放那儿还有两个卡。
啊。
那行。
行，这个很的爱。
Lack of loving from family.
Right. I
所以
understand.
I think family is important
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
Okay. 你还有多少分钟？
我还有50分钟，他还有30。
够了，我们拍完再说吧。好，觉得跑步对他来讲，意味着什么呢？
So what does running, this exercise mean to you? This sports mean to you?
It means fitness. I guess first of all, that's why I started it and why I do continue it. But it's also when I run, I'm always in my head. I'm always thinking about things, and I do listen to music when I run, and sometimes that helps me to not think about things, because sometimes it's nice just to run and look around and enjoy the scenery and the air. But it is a time that it's just for me. My running time. It's not for my family and not for my job. It's just for me, just me doing something for myself. So for all those reasons, I continue to run.
那我前一阵子听你说，你每年都必须要回到加拿大去嘛，然后
So you come back to Canada every year?
Yes, in the summer we go back to Canada, and we spend some time on the East Coast with my family in New Brunswick, and we spend the rest of the time in British Columbia with my husband's family. So we travel from coast to coast, and we enjoy our Canadian food and visit with family and friends every year. Yes.
也就是说2个月假期会在加拿大度过。
So you will spend the vacation in Canada?
Yes. Yes.
那实际上换另外一种说法，就是你每年都有一次选择的权利，是否还会回到中国，回到兰州？
So every year it's up to you to decide if you continue to come back to China, right?
Yes. Yes, during the winter holiday, we usually make the decision to come back. During that time, we think about the past year, and we think about what we want to accomplish the next year, and then we, up to this point, have decided to come back. At some point, we will have to say, no, it's time for us to go home. But year after year, we decide the best thing for our family is to come back. And we will come back next year. Yes.
那么今年你的计划呢，有决定吗？
How about the schedule of this year?
The schedule,
You decided to come back or?
yes. Yes, we have decided to. I've signed a contract for another year. Yes, so we will be here for the 2019-2020 school year. We will be back. Yes.
希望我们会如果有可能，每年都能够见到您在，如果我们来兰州的话，都能够见到您。
If it is possible, if we come to Lanzhou every year, we want to meet you.
Thank you. It would be nice.
因为我的感觉跟您一样，我也很喜欢兰州。
Because I like Lanzhou too.
Yes.
尽管我也不是兰州人。
Even though I'm not a local people.
Yes.
Small, nice city.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
我的问题完了，就他有没有想跟我们说的话？
Would you like anything to share with us? So our questions is over.
Okay. This has been a really interesting experience for me. I've never experienced anything like this. I was very surprised when I saw the cameras, the amount of cameras, and this is you've made this very, very easy for me, and translator as well. I appreciate it, and I am. When I was contacted, I was so happy to say yes, because I do love Lanzhou, and I feel privileged to run the marathon. I'm so happy that they do the marathon year after year, because it's when it first started, it was just supposed to be 1 year, and then they decided another year, just like me. I think for a while were just doing it year after year, but now I think it is a permanent thing. And I think it's so good for the city. And it brings in so much attention, it brings in people. They make special decorations on the road. It is a great thing to have the marathon in the city. And I encourage anybody who wants to run a marathon to come and run this marathon, because it's a beautiful route. It's a nice flat route, and the people here are so kind. So it would be a good experience for anybody who wanted to run their first marathon to come and run the Lanzhou Marathon. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're
我们
welcome.
也很感谢他接受我们的采
So
访。
we are very appreciated you to take the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you as well.
very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Yes.
OK，下面我们。